Oh, praises. Welcome back to Mataya Howard Dot, the spirits, the waters, and the blood. I'm your favorite Hebrew host here, Wayne, here to, thank you. I am Wayne, here to edify, educate, and send best wishes to individuals throughout this holiday or holiday that's coming up, even though it's not a holy day. You might have Hanukkah that's coming around, but most definitely a particular high holy day. Christmas is not. So basically, I just want to say most definitely Hallelujah Yahweh Bashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shua Uvein Barakata Ruach Kodesheka Ana Uvoteka Abram Yahweh. Most definitely, like I said before, Alahaya Abatsa Abraham Isaac Yeho Tadara Abram Yahweh. But like I said before, I'm here to, I guess, shed a little bit of information, fair use, fair use, fair use. Everything, even the music that I may use in my content, is for edification and educational purposes and open for critique and commentary. So basically, again, like I said, welcome back to my Yata Yahawada. Please take the time out to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. That way you'll get alerted anytime that I release new content. And most definitely, most of all, it's free. It just helps the frequency of the channel and helping me in order to get the word out or to get the Father's word out. Basically, whether if it's scripture that I'm going over or if I'm just talking about the particular time frame in which we all indulged ourselves in, like I just did with the video on Thanksgiving. But most definitely, thank you. Welcome back to Mataya Howard. I want to thank every one of my supporters, individuals that subscribe to the channel, that reach out to me about questions and stuff like that. I've been doing a lot of, well, not as of over the last couple of weeks, but weekly during right before the last couple of weeks. I've been actually just reaching out and taking questions from individuals in person, whether it be at work or at on a job site or what have you. So basically, I'm still doing the Father's work. I'm still out here, Salafi. I'm still out here trying to edify my people and to letting the people knows that, that some blacks, some Spanish, some Native Americans, you are the children of Israel, and most definitely come back to Yahweh. Repent with all your heart, pray to the east, and then he'll hear you. So most definitely, like I said again, I'm gonna go just giving little information that's sharing. Fair use, fair use, fair use on all content that I use from other people's videos or chats, information, and maybe music that I play in the background. I should have had some music playing today, but anyway, I'm gonna just go ahead and roll with what I got. All right, so basically, today is it's educational. It's about Christmas, not Christmas, but Christmas, and the pagan holiday that's coming up. Um, basically, that you should not really, you really, really, really shouldn't celebrate to that deity at all, because you're dealing with Roman gods, Norse gods. You're dealing with all types of evil when it comes to Christmas. And then when you have your child bowing down underneath a Christmas tree, you're actually sacrificing your child to the Moloch, whether you know it or not. But like I said again, most definitely welcome back to Mataya Howard Dot, Spirits, the Waters, and the Blood, and hope you enjoy. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this started so it's not that long. Basically, like I said, I'm gonna share a couple of video, or I'm gonna share a video about how your ancestors, when they arrived to America, celebrated Christmas. I started all praises. Hallelujah, Yahweh, Hashem, Hamashiach, Yahushua, Uvain Barakata, Ruach Kodesheka. All right, let me hit that. I'm gonna share sound. Oh, now, shit, here we go. And then, of course, if you've been tuning into me or my channels at all, I'll take a little bit of time to do a little bit of fine adjusting. All right, so I'm gonna blow this up here, stretch this out here, so that way I'm a little bit better. I'm gonna take this ride with you all. Most definitely hope you enjoy. And here we go. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and Merry Christmas to those who are celebrating Christmas. And if you're not celebrating Christmas, I hope you're having a peaceful and restful Saturday. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you'll know when new videos are uploaded. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. If you'd like to have a topic discussed, let me know in the comments section or email me at ladyboulay8596@aol.com. Christmas is a good time to remember the enslaved people that built this country. It was a time of uncertainty for them in some ways, but in some ways it was festive and happy. I say happy, it was as happy as it could be under the circumstances. Happy in that this would be one of the times that they would get a pass to go visit their relatives on other plantations. Some of them had a wife or a husband living on a different plantation that they lived, had children, their parents. So this would have been a time that they would have gotten a pass to go visit their relatives. So that would have been a happy time for them.
If you wait until your headlights burn out, you can lose up to 50 feet of vision.
If there aren't any. Train travel. Amtrak.
Christmas then was one way of them marking time. They knew that a year had passed since the last time they were able to go visit a relative or to have a day off from work, because they had no other way of marking time except when something happened or when something changed. So I want to talk a little bit about what Christmas must have been like for them. It would begin with the enslaved men going into the forest and picking out the best tree, cutting it down and bringing it to the main house. And the enslaved women, the house servants, would decorate the tree and begin big time cooking and cleaning and preparing for guests. This was an important season for the enslavers, because this was the time of the year that they got to show off their wealth that the enslaved people had provided for them. So they'd have big balls and parties, and this was also a preferred time to get married. And let us not forget that on top of doing everything else, the slaves had to provide the music for these events. So many of the enslaved people took their work very seriously. It wasn't just about working for someone else. It was also about representing themselves. And as a side note, the skills that many of the enslaved people cultivated during slavery were the basis for them making a living or building a business once slavery was over. The field slaves had to make sure that all the crops were in, the livestock were tended to and fed, repairs were made around the plantation, and the grounds were immaculate before they could even begin to think about Christmas. On some plantations, on some of the less strenuous plantations, the male slaves would bring in something called a Yule log. That would be a log that they would put on the fireplace. And as long as that log was burning, they would have time off from work. So naturally, they looked for the biggest log in the forest, because in some cases, that log would burn till New Year's. So they would have time off from Christmas Day to New Year's. So that was on some of the plantations where they weren't quite as harsh.
Sound like a joyous occasion to me, right?
So Massa and Mistress and their children were all snuggled, warm, and cozy in their beautiful plantation house, enjoying Christmas, compliments of our ancestors, the slaves. Christmas Day was a special time for the enslaved people, and in pictures you can often see them all gathered around, a big crowd of them, in the front yard of the main house and waiting for Master to come out and grace them with his presence. Also, not only his presence, but presents, because this would be the time that they would get their 2 rations of clothes. They only had 2 sets of clothing, and they had to last the whole year. So it's no wonder that sometimes you see pictures of enslaved people walking around with clothes that look like they're too little or by several sizes sometimes. This was also the time that they got a ration of food. Sometimes they did get a little extra food at Christmas time. Sometimes the master would let them have a little alcohol to drink. If they had a good growing season, they might receive something else, a slice of cake or some.
If they was good Negroes.
Extra meat or something like that. One big thing that the master would do is give them a cane of peppermint candy, and that carried on into my lifetime.
The peppermint candy sticks. That's how our people got introduced to this. If it was some good Negroes, then you got extra. You get an orange sometimes. You get peppermint candy. You got sackcloth in order to make your clothes for the whole year. And I don't know why we complain so much on like Kanye say we chose slavery, so I guess I see why now, right? Because of because of Christmas. Anyway,
black people who worked for white people the white people would come to see them on Christmas Day and give them a stick of peppermint candy. So it was something special about peppermint candy. But Christmas Day was a special time for them because they were just a little bit more relaxed, and especially if they were on a plantation where the people weren't sadistic, where they had some level of decency, of human decency. Christmas was a special time for them. And again, it was a time when they could go visiting their relatives on other plantations. They had to have that pass, but they could go. Down in the slave quarters at Christmas, I think we would find the enslaved people doing what was normal for them, doing what was normal for anybody. Talking, working, cooking, children playing, men carrying things, building things, repairing things, doing what's normal for people to do. The only problem was these people were in bondage and they did not have free movement of thought or body. But to the extent that they were able to make the best of a bad situation, they made the best of a bad situation. And Christmas time was one of the times when they were able to create the culture that came out of their existence, where they danced and sang and told funny stories and enjoyed life to the very best of their ability. They barbecued. This whole thing about black men barbecuing, that started in that system. Black women.
And if you notice, they had pigs laid out on as that they were barbecuing, and our people didn't eat stuff like that at first. But I guess depression and slavery and forced living conditions could make a person eat just about anything if they're hungry, I bet.
Cooking, and it becomes Southern cooking for some people, but we know it to be soul food. Yes, Southern cooking came out of the slave system because many of the foods that make up Southern cooking came from Africa. They brought that food on the slave ships because the enslaved people would not eat the food that the Europeans were eating. So they had to bring their own food, and then they experimented. Some of the spices that may have been available to them in Africa may not have been available here, so they began to use the spices here, making the food better with the spices that they had access to. So yes, Southern cooking comes out of soul food cooking, which comes out of the enslaved system. So Christmas was culture creating time. They had a few days off to rest. The crops were in, and it was too soon to start planting for the next season. So they had a chance to tend their gardens, hunt. I know the men hunted rabbit and deer. That comes down through the culture. And the women cooking, doing special dishes, creating the foundation for soul food. I can imagine that they had dance contests to see who was the best buck dancer or whatever, the jitterbug or whatever they were doing, and singing contests. Surely black women were out there belting out songs to see who could sing the best. and I'm sure somebody was trying to tell jokes. So
Because it was such a
this was a
joyous
happy time
occasion.
for them, a moment of normalcy in a very abnormal system.
No crap.
That would have been some kind of worship during Christmas. If the slave master was there, they would have kept it low and quiet. But when he left, they would have done their own thing. They would have praised in their own way. Because they were spiritual people, if not religious.
They were spiritual people. They were spiritual people. And she says, if not religious, but they weren't religious. They were spiritual people. To be a Hebrew, Israelite, spiritual. We're not a religion. We're blood. The 12 tribes.
Experience had taught them when they could be themselves and when they could not be. Christmas could also be an especially sad time on those plantations because if the slave master had not managed his money right, if the crops hadn't done well, he might well have to sell off some of those slaves. And that meant breaking up families and friendships. And it was also a time when new slaves would be coming in, and they might either be fresh off the boat from Africa, or they might be being sold off or bought onto one plantation from another. Either way, it could be a very sad time during Christmas, because they wanted to start the new planting season off with the people that they were going to have to do the crop for the next season. So Christmas could be sad in that way. And also, this was a time when people might run away.
Might run away.
They'd already gotten wind that they were going to be sold, and they decided, well, this is going to be my chance, and I'm getting up out of here. So while everybody else was distracted, partying and dancing and eating and all of that, the ones who had planned to go decided it's going to be my time to go. I found this reward for Lucy Payne, who had run away in June, and they hadn't got up with her by February of 1851, and they described her as 50 years old, well set and fleshy, full breast, front teeth decay, grayish hair, the nail on one of her 4 fingers injured, which means they'd done something to her, a small red mark on one of her cheeks, 5 feet 2 inches, a handkerchief generally on her head, and they're going to pay $10 to get her back, or if they can get her locked up in jail. Now here's a 50-year-old woman. She's been enslaved, no doubt, all of her life. She had the courage to run away, and they couldn't get up with her. So now they're looking for her. And she has a husband in Washington City. So that means that she got away to Washington, somewhere she's at freedom. And she's not going back. Hopefully, they never caught up with Lucy. And I'm thinking, she's 50 years old. I mean, let's just let the sister have a break. But they wouldn't do that. Everybody had to be recovered, if at all possible. So
Let Lucy live.
it was a time when many of them who had the courage to do so made their run. Not surprisingly, Christmas time was a time when the revolutionaries, the ones who were planning uprisings, made their move. So the patty rollers, as the enslaved people called the police, were on high alert depending on what part of the country they lived in. They were always afraid of slave uprisings because they were always happening. History doesn't always record all of them. America likes to give
The Seminoles and Judah got loose in Florida. I wish I could read that back there, but it's too blurry for me to actually see, even with glasses on. Well, if I had glasses on, I really wouldn't be able to see it. But basically, yeah, it's January. I don't know. I'm not going to infuse. I can see it, but I can't see it clearly, so I'm gonna let it roll.
the impression that the slaves were really happy and they loved their slave master and the slave master's family, and they would never run away. They would never do anything to hurt the slave master because they were happy. But that's just not the truth.
Really?
But there were a lot of them fought back. It's just that they were outnumbered and outgunned. But they did fight back, and Christmas was one of the times.
In Florida, Seminole Indians and Judah, the enslaved individuals that Mataya would die, got together, and it was a massacre of whites by the Indians and blacks in Florida. The Indians and the Negroes, or all of them Negroes, but the Indians and well, not Indians, but let's say a remnant, or some of the northern tribe and the southern tribe or kingdom. Northern kingdom and southern kingdom came together, and in Florida, through Texas, they migrated down into Mexico. Oh, trust me, trust assured. The Seminole meaning is just Seminole Indians is a gathering of all of the 12 tribes together. Most definitely after they brought us and started stationing us inside of the United States by Spain, British colonists, and Britain. So most definitely. And then Second Esdras also recorded us coming over to Atzaras, the new land, the new world, which later on a dummy missed it and misnamed, was trying to name it America, but he messed up and landed down in the Caribbean islands. But so sooner or later, they found it, landed in Maine, and then the next thing you know, they started they had the 13 colonies, and then they had the Louisiana Purchase, and then after they had certain purchases of Florida, Louisiana, they took Texas, and then the next thing you know, they formulated the United States. Yeah, basically. But during that particular time, the northern and the southern kingdom of Yisrael, a lot of us wasn't having that. It was a lot of bloodshed
that they struck, and they had to watch them, because the whole idea was to keep those people on those plantations, because we have to remember this was an economic system. These people were generating massive amounts of money for these European people, so they wanted to keep every one of them on the plantation. And lastly, every year carries its number, as we say, and so there would be somebody was going to die. Some of those slaves, they didn't live very long. Some of them did, but most of them did not live very long. I think the lifespan might been like in the 40s or 50s for the average. So this was a time also for saying goodbye in that way too. So Christmas
and Thanksgiving, most definitely 2 years or 2 holidays that's representing death and bondage to the people that's under the curses. Matah Yahweh and Israel, Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom. Interesting.
On a plantation was the adaptation to a system that was very abnormal, that was cruel in its very nature. But it was also a time when people made the best of a bad situation, and they waited till their change came. And eventually the change came. For me, the tragedy of slavery and the shame of America is that those people put in 246 years of real slavery, government-sanctioned slavery, and then another 100 years of Jim Crow slavery, and America does not even want to acknowledge what they did, and doesn't want to.
And it's funny, America not only doesn't want to acknowledge what its government did, or certain individuals did. They won't even. They're trying to actually act as though it never happened, and not educating children, period, whether it's our children or their children, of it happening, period. Now you tell me if that's some devilish stuff to do. Really. They stole land, stole people. Man, America, pretty soon your sins are going to reach up to the Father, if they not already happened, and America is going to pay. Israel is going to pay for what they did to the 12 tribes of Israel, of Jacob. Oh, it's as it has been written.
Compensate them in any way. this country became what it has become because of the slave system. There is no way that this country, being as young as it only became a country in 1776 or 1785 or something like that. That's a very young country. It is the most powerful country in the world, according to them.
Off of the backs of our people. America became the powerfulest country in a short period of time in the world off of the backs of our people. And our people used to collect merchandise and to be merchandise. And you tell me. Hey.
There is no way they could have done that without the slave system. And yet, we get no recognition and no compensation. And to me, that is disgraceful. So, thank you for listening. Have a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your support. Please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share.
All right, most definitely. And I'm gonna go ahead and end my my little session with you guys. Most definitely. Hopefully you enjoyed. Tune in again to the spirits, the waters, and the blood. Matah Yahweh, all praises to Yahweh. Hallelujah Yahweh. Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushua. Uvein Barakata Ruach Resheka. Anau Teka Abram Yahweh. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it off with a video that one of my homies sent me, or one of my brethren sent me, and most definitely Merry Christmas. And I don't really mean that, but anyway, have a safe time off from work. Enjoy your time. Enjoy time with your family. Don't sacrifice your children to the Moloch, and don't put them under the tree and bowing down and all of that type of stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it with this one here. Let's see.
The Christmas carol you've been singing your entire life is hiding a dark, racist secret. Did you know Jingle Bells wasn't originally about festive sleigh rides? This beloved holiday tune has a shocking backstory that most people have never heard. Written by James Pierpont in 1857, the song's origins are far from the cheerful melody we know today. The original title wasn't even Jingle Bells. It was called One Horse Open Sleigh, performed first in a minstrel show in Boston. This wasn't just a musical performance. It was a racist mockery of black culture. But how deep does this racism go? Minstrel shows were popular 19th century entertainment, where white your entire life is hiding a dark, racist secret. Did you know Jingle Bells wasn't originally about festive sleigh rides? This beloved holiday tune has a shocking backstory that most people have never heard. Written by James Pierpont in 1857, the song's origins are far from the cheerful melody we know today. The original title wasn't even Jingle Bells. It was called One Horse Open Sleigh, performed first in a minstrel show in Boston. This wasn't just a musical performance. It was a racist mockery of black culture. But how deep does this racism go? Minstrel shows were popular 19th century entertainment, where white performers would wear blackface, portraying black people as stupid and lazy. The song's lyrics were a cruel joke about slaves attempting to escape, turning human suffering into comedy. So what does this mean for our holiday traditions? Every time we sing Jingle Bells, we're unknowingly perpetuating a song born from a deeply racist performance tradition. Want to learn more hidden?
Most definitely pagan society. Hold on, I have a better one that I want to use before I sign out. Yep, I share sound. Let's share that. All right, let's go get this right here.
Telling the black truth. Do you know what Christmas Jingle Bells mean? Jingle Bells was for the owners to hear the bells to know if our people who they're enslaved were trying to escape through the night. It was easier for the dogs to hear them. Telling the black truth. Do you know what Christmas Jingle Bells means? Jingle Bells stand for Bell of Slavery. The Jingle Bells was for the owners to hear the bells to know if our people who they're enslaved were trying to escape through the night. It was easier for the dogs to hear them.
Okay, nice. So, like I said, that was most definitely a safe time off from work. Most definitely all praises to the Father. Stay prayed up. Yisrael return back to, the Father, the one who has his hand stretched out still. He loves you. I love you most definitely. Stay blessed. Stay prayed up. Shalom.